Elon Musk. Okay. If you have not seen it, I know some of you guys are not on Twitter. Elon Musk, he kind of went a little rogue a couple days ago and decided to start removing or suspending certain journalists that work at some mainstream media outlets, Washington Post, New York Times, etc., because they doxed his location, meaning they were able to track his private jet from where it took off to where it landed. And Elon said, that's not safe. That's not cool. I agree. That is not safe. That's not cool. Some of them claim they didn't actually do that. They were just reporting on the story. Elon was like, whatevers. We talked about this a couple of days ago. Since then, Elon has decided to just kind of do some changes here and there. And one of the changes that he decided to implement was, and I talked about this on Sunday with Tara Reid. They've deleted the tweet, so I got to tell you what the tweet said. He basically said that going forward, there are certain social media links that you cannot share on Twitter. Now, this was going to be a problem for a lot of people, right? Like, you wouldn't be able to share Facebook, Instagram, poster. I think it was Tidal was one of them. I forget. But they said that people who were sharing those links in their usernames from those social media sites would be removed from Twitter. This was another new rule that just came out of nowhere. And so some of us were like, what about those of us that have a Linktree account? Because Linktree is where we keep like all our links in one neat place, and we might have it in our Twitter bio. Mine isn't there because it doesn't fit, but we had it there. They didn't want Linktree either. So this got a lot of backlash from people. They came back with another response and said that anyone that is using Twitter for the sole purposes of promoting content from other sites, and they listed those same sites, Facebook, Instagram, they didn't mention YouTube. And it's probably because YouTube is not considered a competitor to Twitter. Facebook and Instagram are. They said you could not do that. Those accounts would be removed. People didn't like this. So Elon decided to put out this tweet, and he said, going forward, there will be a vote for major policy changes. My apologies, won't happen again. So that is what this tweet is in response to, because people were not happy with that. Like, what are you saying? We can't post links from Facebook and Instagram, right? So after he got a lot of backlash from that choice, and then there were a couple pictures where he was spotted at the World Cup game with a picture of him in a booth with Jared Kushner and Saudi royals. He was criticized heavily on Twitter for that as well, because people were saying, why is he in a private booth at the World Cup with Jared Kushner, that's Trump's son-in-law, by the way, and Saudi royals? What is up with Elon Musk? What is he really doing here? After that happened, Elon decided to question whether or not he should even have been in that particular place, but more so, he started to question whether or not he should even run Twitter at all. This went from 0 to 10 pretty quickly. So he created a poll. And I don't think Elon is really liking the results of this poll. He said, should I step down as head of Twitter? I will abide by the results of this poll. 57.5% said yes. 42.5% said no. These were the final results. So the majority of people that took that poll believes that Elon Musk should step down. Now I'm asking you guys, do you think he should step down given everything that's happened? If you haven't had a chance to answer that poll, please go ahead and do so. Now, he goes on to say this, as the saying goes, be careful what you wish, as you might get it. Now, there were some people that were speculating that Elon Musk might hand it over to Donald Trump, or may handle it over to Donald Trump Jr. So they thought that's what he was referring to. I haven't seen any evidence that shows that, but that's what some people were saying on Twitter. And I'm just like, this guy's all over the place. Elon is all over the place. He wakes up one morning and says, oh, by the way, I'm going to do this now. Oh, change my mind. Psych. So I don't know if he is the best option for CEO of Twitter right now. I'm actually not sure. There has been some good that has come from this, right? And that leads us into the next part of this story, which is the Twitter files. Had it not been for Elon Musk taking over as CEO of Twitter, would we have the Twitter files? Probably not. So we have a part 7 of that just came out. This piece is from Michael Shellenberger. Now, this is connecting the FBI to the Hunter Biden laptop story. I'm not going to go through all of these, but there are pieces that I do want to show you. Shout out to Mike. Twitter Files Part 7, the FBI and the Hunter Biden laptop. How the FBI and intelligence community discredited factual information about Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings both after and before the New York Post revealed the contents of his laptop on October 14th, 2020. Gotta get into it. Gotta get into it. Come on, Michael. In Twitter Files number 6, we saw the FBI relentlessly seek to exercise influence over Twitter. I covered that on Sunday. Check that out, including over its content, its user, and its data. In Part 7, we present evidence pointing to an organized effort by representatives of the intelligence community, IC, aimed at senior executives at news and social media companies to discredit leaked information about Hunter Biden before and after it was published. Let's go on. The story begins in December 2019 when a Delaware computer store owner named John Paul Mac Isaac contacts the FBI about a laptop that Hunter Biden had left with him. On December 9th, 2019, the FBI issues a subpoena for and takes the laptop. Here's that subpoena. There's the bill. Boop. And there's the subpoena here. So for people saying that the Twitter files are just like opinion and BS, they have documentation. Those are just people trying to simp for Joe Biden's punk ass. I'm sorry about the language, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get better. I really am. Okay. By 2020, in August, Mac Isaac still had not heard from the FBI, even though he had discovered evidence of criminal activity. And so he emails Rudy Giuliani, who was under FBI surveillance at the time. In early October, Giuliani gives it to the New York Post. So that's how the New York Post got that story, for those who are wondering. Shortly after 7 p.m. on October 13th, Hunter Biden's lawyer, George Mesiris, emails JP Mac. What kind of name is that? JP Mac Isaac. It's tripping me up. Hunter and Mesiris had just learned from the New York Post that its story about the laptop would be published the next day. Oh, snizzap. And then here is the email communication here from George. And they cut off the email address there so you can't see it. Says, John Paul, thank you for speaking with me tonight. As indicated, I am the lawyer for Hunter Biden, and I appreciate you reviewing your records on this matter. Thank you, says George. So there you go there. Moving along. At 9:22, FBI agents Elvis Chan, really Elvis? Elvis Chan sends 10 documents to Twitter's then head of site integrity, Yoel Roth. How many times have we heard this name come up in the Twitter files? Through Teleporter, a one-way communications channel from the FBI to Twitter. You guys see this shit? Do you see this? Heads up. I will be sending a teleporter link for you to download 10 documents. It's not spam. Please confirm receipt when you get it. Thank you. That's from Elvis Chan. So here's Elvis telling Yo Roth, who works at Twitter, about these documents. Isn't that crazy? And then you'll see down here, Yo Roth says received and downloaded. Thanks. So he can't come back and say he never got this. Nobody can dispute this information. You see what I'm saying? Oh, it's all coming out. The next day, October 14th, 2020, the New York Post runs its explosive story revealing the business dealings of President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Every single fact in it was accurate. So if you can retrieve this story, read it. Read it. And yet, within hours, Twitter and other social media companies censored the New York Post article, preventing it from spreading and, more importantly, undermining its credibility in the minds of many Americans. Why is that? What exactly happened? And it goes on to say here, Matt Taibbi described the debate inside Twitter over its decision to censor a wholly accurate article. I went over that with you guys a couple nights ago. First, it's important to understand that Hunter Biden earned tens of millions of dollars in contracts with foreign businesses, including ones linked to China's government, for which Hunter offered no real work. Here's an overview by investigative journalist Peter Schwitzer. That's a longer video. You guys can watch that yourself if you want to. I don't have time to play. It's like a 9-minute video. In fact, I'll put it there so y'all can see that. And let's Scooby-Doo on. And yet, during all of 2020, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies repeatedly primed Yo Roth to dismiss reports of Hunter Biden's laptop as Russian hack and leak operation. This is from a sworn declaration by Roth given in December 2020. And here's that declaration here. Oh boy. Let's go on. They did the same thing to Facebook. I told you guys about this one. I did cover this when it happened. According to Mark Zuckerberg, the FBI basically came to us and was like, hey, you should be on high alert. We thought there was a lot of Russian propaganda in 2016. So there's about to be some kind of dump similar to that, which is really interesting to me that Mark Zuckerberg didn't push back on that because Russiagate was debunked. You thought Mark Zuckerberg would have known that and would have pushed back on that. But nevertheless, he went on. Were the FBI warnings of the Russian hack and leak operation relating to Hunter Biden based on any new intel? No, they weren't. Through our investigations, we did not see any similar competing intrusions to what had happened in 2016. That's coming from FBI agent Elvis Chan in November. So even that agent is telling you that it was not similar. But that is what he said to Mark Zuckerberg. And here are the questions here. This is crazy. It's crazy, you guys. Again, if you guys follow Michael, I'll send you the link so you can see this whole thing. I'm just kind of going to more of the important parts here. Indeed, Twitter execs repeatedly reported very little Russian activity. September 24th, 2020, Twitter told the FBI it had removed 345 largely inactive accounts linked to previous coordinated Russian attempts. They had little reach and low follower accounts. I did talk about that, how they were removing accounts that didn't even have many followers. In fact, Twitter debunked false claims by journalists of foreign intelligence on its platform. We haven't seen any evidence to support that claim. By one underscore at NBC News of Foreign Control Robots, our review thus far shows a small scale domestic troll effort. So it wasn't even a large scale, and they wanted to put a stop to it. Let's go on. After FBI asked about the WAPO story, it's Washington Post, on alleged foreign influence in pro-Trump tweet, Twitter's Roth says the article makes a lot of insinuations, but we saw no evidence that that was the case here. And in fact, a lot of strong evidence pointing in the other direction. We had talked about this a little bit as well. Now, I want to get to the part here because I don't want to stay on this too long. Um, I showed that part too. Some of this is repeat, so I'm just going to get down to this part here. Do, 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 do. This part. As of 2020, there were so many former FBI employees, BU alumni, working at Twitter that they had created their own private Slack channel and a crib sheet to onboard new FBI arrivals. You guys have got to know this stuff is going on. So here's that message here. Hey, Jim, so excited you are here. I am no longer the newest BU alumni. Here is the BU to Twitter translation chart I mentioned, adding Dawn so she can add and correct. Again, welcome. Super pumped to work with you again. And then there you go. And so the part that I want to end with is this piece here. Efforts continue to influence Twitter's Yoel Roth. In September 2020, Roth participated in an Aspen Institute tabletop exercise on a potential hack and dump operation relating to Hunter Biden. The goal was to shape how the media covered it and how social media carried it. And he has the itinerary here. It was called Aspen Digital Hack and Dump Working Group. He has the itinerary for that week listed there. And then Michael goes on to say the organizer was Vivian Schiller, from former CEO of NPR, former head of news at Twitter, former general manager of New York Times, former chief digital officer of NBC News. Attendees included Meta, Facebook's head of security policy, and the top national security reporter of the New York Times and the Washington Post. You guys see what's happening here? It's all controlled. The media is controlled by the security state. Social media is controlled by the security state. Terrible. And then he goes on to add here, by mid-September 2020, Chan and Roth had set up an encrypted messaging network so employees from the FBI and Twitter could communicate. They also agree to create a virtual war room for all internet industry plus FBI and ODNI, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. And again, they come with the receipts. Here's the information here. I don't have time to read through all of it, but I was trying to get to that last one just to wrap it up really quick. The pressure from FBI on social media platforms continues. In August 2022, Twitter execs prepared for a meeting with the FBI whose goal was to convince us to produce on more FBI EDRs. EDRs are an emergency disclosure request, a warrantless search. And here's that documentation here. And then Michael goes on to say, in response to the Twitter files revelation of high-level FBI agents at Twitter, Jim Jordan said, I have concerns about whether the government was running a misinformation operation on we, the people. Michael goes on to say, anyone who reads the Twitter files, regardless of their political orientation, should share those concerns. The end. Follow Michael Shellenberger, you guys, on Twitter so that you can see all of those documents. But the long story short here is that we discussed days ago that Twitter was censoring and suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story. And now we have another piece to that puzzle, which is the fact that the FBI directed them to do it. Again, it's like some of these things we kind of figured, but we just did not have evidence. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I think there's another one that was just released too. I can't keep up with these. There was a part 8 that was just released by Lee, I believe. I haven't had a chance to look through that yet, but I'm going to stay on top of this, guys. JB says, I think that Twitter should be worker owned, a public utility. We're going to get to that. Now, Connecting this all back together, this whole Twitter debacle. There have been some good things that Elon Musk has done, like the Twitter files. Again, we would not have this information probably if it wasn't for Elon Musk, because let's be real, Jack Dorsey, the previous owner of Twitter, claims he didn't know this was going on. I don't buy that, but Jack's protecting Jack at this point. So he has helped with this. There's been some bad things, there's been some good things. But the question that what JB brought up, and I want to talk about this tonight on Call In. There were so many people on Twitter trying to recommend other people for CEO of Twitter. So many people asking, like, who should do it? Who should be the person? Da da da. But what bothered me is that I didn't really see, with the exception of JB, I didn't see many people suggesting that we should own it, that it should be a co-op, that it should be a public utility. And that right there said something to me about the mindset of the American people. We're so willing to put the power back in the hands of one individual instead of asking, why aren't we trying to utilize this ourselves and make it a co-op? Because Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, none of these platforms exist without our data. None. All right, let's go ahead and look at those poll results. Let's go. Let's see how people voted. Should Elon resign as CEO of Twitter? Oh my God, this is the closest poll I've ever had on the show. I'm not kidding. 42% said yes, 33% said no, 25% said they are not sure. There's like, fuck if I know. I've never had a poll this close. Maybe we should have more discussions like this where people are kind of like with each other. That is awesome.